Galimera, Galimera, Galimera. Good morning, good morning, good morning. And how are we today? Monday morning, the start of another interesting week here in Zakynthos, and maybe an interesting week where you are, whichever part of the world that you are tuning in. Just thought I'd give you a little look at Georgie Gorgeous. Yeah, this is Georgie, one of our cats. You may notice she doesn't have a proper tail. She just has what we call her little rabbit's tail. That's the way that she was born, bless her. Such a little character. She was dumped actually on us, along with two of her siblings, on the driveway into where we live by a little girl on a bicycle. Rode past, stopped, got off her bicycle, disappeared behind the bush. We were sat, Jane and I, watching this little girl on the bike, and then she rode away. And then Jane just took a wander up to the tree that you see here, where the car is. See the tree? And went down there, and there were three little kittens that had been left at our driveway. Anyway, two of them we managed to find homes for with a friend of ours, and we kept this little one because she was such a character. Bless her. There you go. That's Georgie Gorgeous. There you go. Little tubby she is these days as well. Bless her. Right. Oh, and over there, little Sandy having a bit of a groom as well. And as I look over, I can see a chicken running towards here. Bless you. You're a bit late for breakfast, my lovely. Anyway, let's have a quick look at the weather. And I've got to be honest, the weather today, oh my God, it is gorgeous today. Absolutely beautiful, lovely and warm. No wind at all. And as you can see, looking towards Lagana and Kalamaki in that direction over there. Absolutely clear blue skies, little slight haze, but nothing to be concerned about. So, and again, in the sun, it feels absolutely brilliant. Looking towards Sillavi, where the hill is, over the top of that and beyond is where the direction of Sillavi is. And again, that's looking like clear blue skies are going to be over in that direction. And if we go down towards the back of the house, towards Amber Lockerbie, and also towards Kerry, again, it's looking absolutely gorgeous over there as well. So beautiful sunshine over there as well. Absolutely clear blue skies. Absolutely fantastic. So there you go. That's the weather forecast for today. Quick shout out to a few people already tuning in. Mick Ling is there. Sophie Hindermarsh. Hello, Sophie. She says, good morning, Ginge. Also, Christine Brown is also looking in as well. And the chickens are making some noise too. Bernadette Barrick is also there as well. Denise Driscoll. Johnny Hayes. Hey, Johnny. He's looking in. Raffridge Buddy. Joanne Simpson. Morning. Guess who's wide awake? Oh, you've got up early this morning. Well, the clocks did go forward, so that could be the reason your body clock has not stuck in yet. Christine Wildridge is looking in, Emma Marku and Catherine Ling. Right, let's have a look at the news today, because the news today is interesting, shall we say. Quite a varied amount of news for you. We're also going to be looking at well, I won't preempt what I'm saying. We'll just take it as it comes. And there's another mad chicken running around over there at the moment as well. Oh, and big shout out to Shane Bowen of Exmoor, who's tuning in as well. So, right, let me just click myself round. There we go. Silly me, I accidentally switched us off. Anyway, let's have a quick look at the news. That means now it's going to take me more time because I've got to edit two parts of a show together. Oh, well, I'll worry about that later. Right, okay, so today is then the 29th of March, 2021. It's Monday. It is now day 143 of the lockdown. COVID in the last 24 hours across Greece is as follows. Good thing is, things starting to go down at the moment. The Sunday, I reported to you 3,133 new cases. However, today, from the figures from yesterday, only 1,449 new infections across Greece were recorded. That's bringing the grand total since the pandemic started to 254,031. Again, 51% of those are male. Now, when it comes to new cases being identified after checks into the country, that number has gone up slightly. The last time I reported to you, there were 6. Yesterday, there were 11 new cases identified in entries into the country. Now, according to the national stats for yesterday, there were 3 new cases in Lefkada. There were no new cases in Kefalonia. There were 4 new cases in Corfu, and Zakynthos reported 4 new cases on the national stats. Now, on the ground, I think we now have tallied up because there were 4 new cases reported locally here in Zakynthos. There was testing done in Solomon Square. 141 samples were taken from people there, and of those 141 samples taken, 1 person tested positive. Later in the day, yesterday, the General Hospital of Zakynthos announced that they had recorded 3 new cases who'd arrived at the hospital for testing and then obviously found to be positive. And those people have gone home to self-quarantine, as did the person from Solomon Square for 14 days. So at the moment, our stats now are in sync with the national statistics. Right, that brings the total amount of new infections now since the pandemic started, this year on Zakynthos to 252 positive cases since the beginning of the year. And this month alone, we've had 152 cases for the month of March here in Zakynthos. Anyway, when it comes to deaths have dropped actually across the country. I did report to you that we had 72 deaths. The deaths are down to 54 new deaths. That is means the grand total now is 7,880, and the average age of those people past 79 years of age. 96 had underlying health problems or over the age of 70. And again, the death rate in 2019, before the rise of COVID, would be around about 329 deaths a day on average. Right, as for critical cases at the moment, now critical cases are up again. Last time I reported to you, they were up to 728. Today, they are now standing at 735. 473 of those are male, 226 of those are female. And the average age of persons in critical care at the moment is 68, and 86.5% of them have underlying health issues or are over the age of 70. And at the moment in Zakynthos, the only word we have about hospital beds being occupied with COVID at the moment is 7 people being treated at the COVID clinic here on Zakynthos. Anyway, today's news then. Yesterday saw the highest number of patients being incubated in the country. That's the largest since the start of the epidemic in Greece. With no signs that the crisis will improve in the short term. To endeavour to manage the unprecedented emergency, the government has mobilised all potential hospital beds in the country, including those in the private, public sector, and also military hospitals as well. A lot of people actually tend to forget that Greece does have a network of military hospitals in the same way the UK used to have a network of military hospitals, which have now all gone now, much to great concern, especially with people from the forces. Anyway, it was announced on Saturday, this is an interesting reversal of things. It was announced on Saturday that pharmacies now in Greece will not be performing self-tests on members of the public after the Panhellenic Pharmaceutical Association expressed its opposition on health grounds. Anyway, more specifically, the Deputy Minister to the Prime Minister, Akis Seratos, accepted the request by the PFS, that's the Panhellenic Society, as President Apostolos Vlastas. Anyway, early on Saturday, the PFS had issued a statement saying that it was categorically opposed on the health risk grounds to the notion that pharmacies will perform self-tests for coronavirus. Anyway, the statement said the pharmacies are on board with the discussing the supply of free test kits to members of the public, provided that smooth operation of our pharmacies is secured so as to avoid health risks for our fellow citizens and staff. However, it is stressed that self-tests should not be performed in pharmacies due to the epidemiology issues that arise, as well as risks to public health, as pharmacists are obliged to safeguard the health of patients who visit pharmacies, he said. Interesting quandary there. I've got to be honest, you can go to your pharmacy and have an injection, no trouble whatsoever. They're quite happy to do that, or have been, although I haven't had or gone for an injection since I normally have a B12 injection every so often, and they're great. They just go to the pharmacy, I like a B12 injection, and they'll do it for you there and then, no trouble. As for safety within the pharmacies, I can see a lot of older people who may find the use of a pharmacy kit, a self-test kit, might be a bit daunting for them, and they might not fully understand how to do the testing themselves. And if they haven't got anybody who can help them with that, then I might feel that they might be at a disadvantage. So I'm hoping that a little bit of common sense might prevail. Pharmacies already have shields up and everything else inside the pharmacies. I don't think it would take much for somebody to actually have to do a pharmaceutical test inside a pharmacy to see whether they've got COVID or not. And I think it would probably relieve some of the pressure on some of the older people, because I can see what's going to happen. They're going to get these kits and they're not going to do anything with them, because not only is it not about taking the test, it's about registering your results as well. And if you're somebody, say, in their 80s or something like that, and again, technically, as I said yesterday's news, do these people need to take a test as well? Because again, it was reported yesterday in my news that people in Greece are saying that once you've had the vaccination twice, the 2 doses, and 15 days has elapsed, technically, you shouldn't need to take another COVID test to basically further muddy the waters with everybody else. However, we'll wait and see what comes out of that. Also, another distressing story at the moment. A 48-year-old man committed suicide with a hand grenade in the northern town of Gestala. This is on the mainland of Greece. The man was found in an abandoned building, and police have excluded a criminal act. So to take your life with a hand grenade, first of all, where the hell did you get that hand grenade from to do it? And also to decide to end your life that way is a horrible way to actually do it as well. And you cannot always be sure of death with a hand grenade, and that is for sure. But anyway, once again, our condolences to the family for that one. Another interesting story which I saw this morning, and I'm going to support this 100 all the way. The Zakynthos Municipal Party, which is called Anatropi Angeles, led by Antonis Galamatis, made a public statement about their feelings in regards the operation of the Foskalos cinema, which has provoked a storm of reaction from both those who support the operation of the cinema and the municipality authority, and who at the moment are basically causing issues with the running of it because of what is termed a problematic contract. Anyway, a statement has been issued by the Zakynthos Municipal Party saying that it is in favour of the operation of the cinema, and asked the mayor to find a solution by not strangling the cultural activities here on the island. Specifically, he said the tactics, to be honest, by the mayor, Mr. Arakis, seriously harm the culture and the issue of the Foskalos cinema. It is clear that the survival of the cinema Foskalos, a place that supports entertainment and culture in our country, presupposes the operation of the concessions cafe in the form of a cafe license. Otherwise, a cinema cannot be kept. The thing is very simple. If the mayor believes that there are problems in the contract with the municipality, it must be resolved and not naturally strangle cultural actions, as it did with the outdoor municipal theatre, which hasn't been open for a very, very long time, and also the new municipal theatre, which has remained closed and is still not open ever since they started building it back in 2005. Anyway, however, he says, failed amid the pandemic, Mr. Ariakis, is something unique. instead of discussing how the only cinema in the city will open, let's discuss why it should not close. This admittedly is an exceptional achievement. And I've got to be honest, I agree 100% with the gentleman there. We need that cinema to keep going. The issue over the license, over the cafe, concessions area, and also the outdoor seating is all part and parcel of running a modern theatre. You cannot make enough money to cover the cost of your films without offsetting it against the snacks and little goodies that you sell, which is all part of the cinema experience, your popcorn, your hot dogs and everything else. All of that is part and parcel in keeping the cost of your cinema ticket down. You speak to anybody in the UK that runs a cinema, whether you're running a massive big conglomerate of cinemas like Roadshow, the Village Cinemas, Odeon, the old ABCs in their day, all right? Again, it was what you bought in the little concession stand and the hot dog stand that offset the cost of your ticket and made it affordable. And that's been proven on this island, that when the Cine Club ran the little cinema, it never made any money. It never made a profit. It didn't get many people going because of the choice of films in a lot of respects, and because it wasn't being run as a commercial business. It was running more of a cultural thing. And to be honest, we need that cinema. We do not want it to die on the vine, because at the moment it's been shut for months and months and months, and we need it back. And also, again, a fantastic experience for you as a tourist coming to the island is in the summer going and watching a movie outdoors down on the seafront. Again, brilliant, absolutely lovely evening out. The only time I've been able to enjoy a movie under the stars, as it were, is because basically we've had the lockdown and we were not working at one point, and so managed to take advantage of it last year by being able to go to the outdoor cinema. However, we want the outdoor cinema and the indoor cinema to remain, because they both work together, and we'd be lost without either of them. And culturally, when all this is over, still want to go back to see films on the big screen rather than watching it on your laptop or on your TV at home. Anyway, more news from the UK at the moment, and foreign holidays are unlikely to be legal until August, and the warnings, people booking their trips sooner, are very optimistic, despite airports pushing a traffic light system to defend their COVID variants. But Boris's roadmap has May the 17th as the earliest possible date for foreign holidays to make a comeback. However, scientists have been warning that keeping borders tight could be the price for unlocking society and economy sources, saying that international travel is looking unlikely before August amid surging cases abroad. In interviews this morning, the Cultural Secretary Minister Oliver Dowden said international travel is challenging. Asked about the traffic light idea, he told Sky News' Ridge on Sunday, we're exploring all these issues as part of the International Travel Task Force. You know what? I get sick of hearing about these task forces that are out doing this and out doing that. And in fact, they seem to not do nothing. And when it comes to common sense, they kind of ignore it and go on their own sweet way. Anyway, he says we're considering all options as part of the Travel Task Force. Clearly, there are challenges around international travel. You can only have to look across to the continent and see the rising cases rates of many of our nearest neighbours. It has been in the past the case that those rising infection rates have seen their way to the UK, where hopefully that they won't happen this time round because of our progress with the vaccine and so on. But we do need to be cautious about that. Now, all right, fair enough. I understand that. You need to be cautious. However, we are one of the lowest rates in the whole of Europe. Our death rate has been far lower than yours. And I have to laugh, last week, your rates in the UK were dropping off a cliff. We were having a bigger death rate one day than what the whole of the UK had last week. So now, listen, guys, live with it, take the chance, open up, get people back in the shops, get people back in the bars and restaurants, get yourselves back to work and get travelling on holidays. And it was interesting that I also saw another article in the Lockdown Skeptic, which is a great news site for people to check out as well, which said this: a reader has pointed out the additional costs suffered by British travellers to France because of the government's regulations. Specifically, the requirement to have 3 PCR tests at a maximum of £120 each. Sorry, at a minimum of £120 each. All right, I know you can get it a bit cheaper, maybe £98 if you book your test, but £98, 120, all right, you're saving 30 quid. But let's not quibble the price. It's still expensive, all right? Now, if you want to come back from France to the UK, you have to provide a negative PCR test that costs a very reasonable 15 quid, all right? And that's in France. They're charging 15 quid for a test. But on your return to the UK, you have to undergo 2 more PCR tests on day 2 and on day 5 after you arrive as well. Now, for some mysterious reason, the cheapest test that this reader found was in the UK was from Boots, and they were charging £120. All right, which, to be honest, is a ridiculous amount of money that you would have to spend. Even Booth's bargain basement costs was an outrageous, he said, £360 for him and his partner to be able to come and go across to France and back again. All right. And of course, you need a PCR test for the outward bound trip too. Anyway, he says, my partner and I have written to our MP about this racketeering, and I like that word racketeering, but it's obvious the government policy, the British government we're talking about now, for those who might have joined us late, is to deter people from going to a deserted beach abroad and to have them packed on the British beaches instead. We own a place in France, and we hate to think our fully booked summer holiday will look like we will look like a once party of 10, they normally go the group of 10, has permitted us at £3,600 to our bill for them to be able to go abroad. If the government sincerely wants to free us from our shackles, it should clamp down on the cynical profiteering and set up a simple system as for the lorry drivers who travel backwards and forwards across. And I do have lorry driver listeners who travel backwards and forwards. They just basically drive up to Manston, drive through there, get a COVID test, and then they can take their lorry straight across onto the continent. Anyway, as Lord David Blunkett recently pointed out, travel restrictions imposed by the British government impact not only tourism, the topic which receives the most attention from the broadcast media, but it also clamps down on trade and aviation as well. My advice to you guys, if you're watching this broadcast, and Jane has been doing this, write to your local MP. Write to your local MP and say, you need to bring this up in the House. Why are we charging so much for tests when in fact it's cheaper to get a test? How do they justify the cost? That's the other thing you've got to look at. How do they justify the cost? It's costing 15 euros or 15 quid in France for a PCR test, but in Britain, 120, 98 pounds. Why are we charging more for a test in the UK than they are charging on the continent? And also look at it like this. Greece is giving away free test kits, or will be giving away free test kits on the 1st. Why is Britain not doing the same? So it smacks to me, people are making a lot of money out of this, and it's going to wreck our tourist season. And you need to, please, write a letter to your MP, and I'll warn you now, your first letter you'll write, you'll get a bog standard reply, which you know they've cut and pasted. If you write a second letter and say, you haven't answered my question, I want a direct answer, you may in fact get a direct answer, as Jane has found, writing to North Staffordshire MP about problems that she's had to encounter for a mother, okay, over there. So once again, please make it vocal that you are not happy that people are racketeering off this. £120 for a PCR test, 15 quid for a PCR test in France, and a free one here in Greece. So again, start writing. All right. Okay, and finally, a bit of happy news for you. There's a lady called Jenny Harriman, which I think Dennis from Magdalena's may have heard of. Now, she's a Finnish food artist, all right? And she's behind a mouth-watering baked feta pasta recipe that has gone viral on social media worldwide, boosting feta cheese sales to an unprecedented peak and even causing shortages across the globe in that market, all right? Now, international media has documented the massive impact of Jenny's dish on feta supply and demand across the USA last month as the widely popular recipe, which debuted online in 2018 under its Finnish name. I'm going to try and pronounce this. Feta pasta, something like that. Anyway, went trending once again thanks to a TikTok video. Ooh. Anyway, the indigenous food blogger from Helsinki told the Greek reporter where the inspiration came from this much loved dish. And she says it makes feta so popular with people from different culinary backgrounds, and what her personal impression of the original Greek cuisine during a brief stay she had in the country. A few months after the online publication of Jenny's feta pasta recipe, oven feta ranked as the most searched keyword in the food category on Google Finland for 2019, and Una feta pasta was justifiably awarded Phenomenon of the Year. If you've had it, feta pasta, I'm sure we've made feta pasta at some point. I don't know if we followed the Finnish recipe for it. Let me know. And I think we might have a little go at making that ourselves here, Jane and I. Right, I can already see comments coming up online. Once again, I do apologise for cutting myself off accidentally. But anyway, Teresa Ann Huggett, nice to see you here. Emma Marku, nice to see you. Catherine Ling, nice to see you. Joanne Simpson is still hanging in there. Thank you, my darling. Christine Brown is also tuning in. Shane Bowen up there on Exmoor is tuning in as well. Thank you for tuning in to the Northern Soul Show yesterday. Also, Zanti Pete, I know you're in there somewhere. Thank you for tuning in. Great show yesterday. In fact, listening to Beach Radio over the weekend, sat on the balcony, it's really weird. It's like there's somebody else talking. It's not me, it's somebody else. And having a few beers, looking at the sunset. It was like, you know what? Life is good despite all the shit that all the rubbish that's going on at the moment. Anyway, Christopher Lloyd George is also watching. Nice to see you. Lindsay Lamb is also tuning in. Julie Halloran is tuning in. Paul Fleming is watching. Rena Pete Dillon is also tuning in over there from Cyprus. Also, Billy Hester is watching as well. Andrew the Fridge Watkins is watching. Oh, commiserations. The rugby at the weekend. The Irish won the rugby. Amazing. Anyway, Julie Halloran says, morning, Ginge. Yet another wet one in Manchester. Oh, bless. It's so lovely here today. I don't want to rub it in, all right. Linda Gray is also watching as well. Marie Hallberg in Switzerland is also, Sweden is tuning in. I do apologise. Amanda Gregory is watching. Where's the weather forecast, Amanda? Oh, here we come. She says, morning, Ginge. In town, quite warm and sunny. Have a good day. Oh, she's in town today. Right, fair enough. Andrew Smith is watching as well. Sue Saint is watching. Sue Saint says, morning. Patsy Ann Dobson says, good morning, Ginge. Weather looking good here in Margate. Bless Margate. Sun is out and shining down on us all. Bless you. What a lovely place Margate is. Susie Angus is watching. Donna Beard is watching from Liverpool. Zanti Pete says, a very good morning, Ginge, and all looking in today. Thank you there, Zanti Pete. He's also linking me up with Argassi as well at the same time, one of their pages there. Julie Meldrum is watching too. Hilary Rogers is watching. She says, morning, Ginge. Morning, Hilary. Emily Shanti is watching as well. Nice to have you looking in, Emily. Gail Marson is watching as well. Heather Nash is watching also. Heather says, morning to you and Jane from a very windy Birmingham. Oh, I don't like the sound of that. Hilary Rogers is looking in as well. Hilary Rogers saying something about Zakynthos General Hospital. Oh, she's given me a link. I can't read that, but oh, hang on a minute. Oh, Oh, hang on a tick. Hang on. I've just got it here now. Let me have a quick look at this story that seems to be coming in. A new coronavirus molecule detection analyzer has arrived for the ability to simultaneously analyze 91 samples. Cool. The new coronavirus molecular detection analyzer is now at the hospital of Zakynthos, another state-of-the-art molecular analysis system for rapid diagnosis of coronavirus infection was delivered to the General Hospital. In fact, this new machine of top technology gives the possibility for simultaneously analysing 91 samples, serving in the best way, shielding our island. Zakynthos MP, our new VP behind it, Dionys Akapis, stated in this regard. We continue to make every effort to remain safe health-wise. We have proven that we consider the value of human life first and foremost. The new machine that arrived at our hospital further strengthens the health shield of our locality in the view of the upcoming tourist season. We are intensifying our efforts in order to be ready early. I would like to point out that once again, the administration of our hospital moved immediately and managed not only to quickly secure the machine, but also reduce in half the cost of the hospitals is obliged to pay for the purchase of each test. Well, there we go. Thank you for that, Hilary. I appreciate that. That was obviously breaking news there. We got a new machine that can now do 91 tests in one go, which obviously speed up testing here on Zakynthos as well. As long as we don't get any false positives, that'll be interesting to see how that all pans out. It's interesting. We still had to pay for it. We didn't get it for free. We had to pay for it, but the hospital ended up paying half the cost anyway. But anyway, that's another subject. Anyway, Maria Halber says, morning from rainy Sweden. Glenn Stacey is watching. Savannah Devine is also watching. Debbie Walthamstone is watching. Rob Davis is watching. Yvonne Monroe is watching. Sean Webb. Hello, Sean, mate. Long time no see. He's tuning in as well. Angela Love is watching as well. Ian Daly is also watching. Carol Walker is watching. Nice to see you, Carol. Gail Marsden says, it's disgraceful what the UK charged for testing, for PCR testing. It's all money making. I've said this all along. You know, we're in the middle of a pandemic and you're going to charge people basically for the privilege to know whether they've got the disease or not. National health system, it's all been paid for from public money straight away. So why further charge people for a test? It should be free because it's a national crisis, a national emergency. During the Second World War, right, during the war, Rodney, did you have to pay for your gas mask? No, I don't think you paid for your gas mask that you were all issued. They weren't needed in the end because the Germans never used any poison gas against us, but everybody was issued with a gas mask and they didn't have to put their hand in their pocket and pay for it extra after the government had gone around and bought it using your taxes. So why not the same with a PCR test, all right? Anyway, Frank Proud is watching as well. Nice to see you there. Also, Lindsay Lamb says internal lateral flow test, the same as our free ones, will be here. They are free in the UK for school kids, and one who works in a school dentist. My sister has heard two girls have hang on a minute. The lateral flow test, the same as for our free one, will be here, are free in the UK for school kids, and one who works in a school dentist and nurses, my sisters have to do 2 a week, but they not test which allow us to fly. Okay, fair enough. I know my ex-wife, she works in a pharmacy. She has to do a test every week. It's part of the regulations as a pharmacist that you do a test. And again, the point is this: we should not be having to pay extraordinary amounts of money for a test. It should be an affordable cost. When you start sticking £120 on top of a holiday, that then starts to put your holiday price up. And if you imagine that's a family of four, 120 quid each, having to pay to get out and then having to pay to come back in, but not pay once to come back in, but paying twice because you've got to have one on the second day and on the fifth day, it's just ramping up the cost of your holiday abroad. So praying that some common sense will come. And again, please, you in the UK, write to your local MP about this, because it's going to cripple us here in Greece. But also as well, it's not helping with trade and stuff like that in the UK, because if you're somebody who wants to go and do a deal with somebody and leave the country to go and do that deal, you're still having to pay the same amount of money to be able to go ahead and be able to see somebody face to face to do that deal. And I'll hear the remarks, oh, well, you can do a Zoom conference. You can do a Zoom conference. There's nothing like meeting somebody face to face to iron out a business deal than talking on a Zoom conference, all right, especially with our internet here, all right. But again, we have to make it affordable from the British government. Be honest, British government. Just say you don't want people to go abroad. That would be the best thing. Be honest about it. Don't get people's hopes up. And again, for us, we then know where we stand in regards how we're going to tackle the summer season. So, yeah, we'll wait and see. Andrew's... oh, sorry. Andrew the Fridge Watkins said, Wales won the Six Nations, not Ireland. I do apologise. He fell for me bait. There you go. Larry Smith is watching. Larry Smith says, too early, Ginge. He says, maybe my broadcast is too early for him. His clock hasn't gone forward in his house. Right, listen, I've been rambling on now too long. I've got to go. There's things I've got to do. I'm recording this Friday's Dance Anthem show. I'll be putting that together today. So I'll be a busy day sorting that out. Also, as well, once again, the weather today is absolutely glorious. You stay safe where you are. I'll keep my ear to the ground. If I hear of anything, I'll let you know about it. And once again, I can't believe we are inching ourselves closer now to April. And before we know where we are, if like March has been, we should be near May, when we should be opening our doors, getting ready for the summer. And we're still waiting to see what kind of summer that we are actually going to have. But anyway, that's for another day. We take it a day at a time. I will see you tomorrow. You take care. Have a nice day and stay safe.